Before history began, before humanity walked the earth, there was only the lake. It stretched across the southern horizon like a sheet of glass, fed by a single winding river that cut through forests and grasslands older than memory itself. The surrounding wilderness was untouched. Great herds migrated across the plains. Predators prowled the forests. Storms came and went without witness. For countless ages, nature ruled alone. Then, humanity arrived. The first settlers were few in number. They followed the river downstream and discovered the lake by accident. To them, it seemed like a paradise. Fresh water was plentiful. Fish filled the shallows. The forests provided timber and game. They built a handful of crude huts near the shore and lit campfires that reflected upon the water at night. No one could have imagined what those first flames would eventually become. The settlement survived harsh winters, droughts, and disease. Generations passed. The tiny village slowly expanded. Families grew larger. Farms appeared. Wooden docks extended into the lake. Small boats ventured across the water. Trade routes formed. The people began to call themselves the children of the lake. As centuries passed, the village became a town. Stone replaced wood. Roads replaced dirt paths. Markets appeared. Blacksmiths forged tools and weapons. Watchtowers rose over the growing settlement. The city was born. For a time, prosperity seemed endless. Then came the First Great War. From across the waters, barbarian tribes launched devastating raids against the city. Their ships appeared without warning. Villages burned. Farms were destroyed. Entire districts were reduced to ash. The people fought desperately. Every street became a battlefield. Every building became a fortress. The war lasted for years. When it finally ended, the city survived, but only barely. Thousands had died. Much of the city lay in ruins. Entire neighborhoods stood abandoned and blackened from fire. Victory felt hollow. For many citizens, hope had died alongside the fallen. Then something strange began to happen. Wild turkeys from the surrounding forests started entering the city. At first, nobody paid attention. The birds had always lived nearby, but unlike before, they no longer avoided humans. Perhaps they sensed that hunting had nearly stopped during the Reconstruction. Perhaps they were simply curious. Whatever the reason, they stayed. Workers rebuilding homes often found turkeys quietly following them throughout the day. Children shared food with them. Families grieving lost loved ones discovered birds resting peacefully beside them. The turkeys wandered through the devastated streets without fear, and somehow their presence brought comfort. As months became years, a remarkable friendship formed. The people were rebuilding their city. The turkeys were rebuilding their trust. The bond grew stronger with every generation. The birds became symbols of resilience. They had appeared when the city was broken. They had remained when so much else had disappeared. Stories spread throughout the recovering civilization. Stories of turkeys staying beside injured workers. Stories of birds returning to visit the same families year after year. Stories of children who grew up alongside loyal turkey companions. Eventually, the city declared the turkey a protected animal. No longer viewed as wildlife, they became honored members of society. The period that followed became known as the Great Recovery. New walls were built, new districts emerged, trade expanded, knowledge flourished. The city entered a golden age unlike anything it had experienced before. Over time, the turkey became woven into nearly every aspect of culture. Artists painted them, poets wrote about them, schools taught their history. Eventually, keeping turkeys as companions became common throughout society. What other civilizations considered unusual, the children of the lake considered normal. Turkeys became household pets. Merchants walked through markets accompanied by them. Children played beside them. Families raised generations of loyal turkey companions. Even centuries later, nearly every neighborhood could be found with turkeys freely wandering among the people. The city continued growing. Its wealth attracted traders from distant lands. Its influence spread across the region. But prosperity once again drew the attention of enemies. Then came the Second Barbarian War. The descendants of the tribes defeated in the First Great War returned in greater numbers than ever before. Massive fleets crossed the lake. Fortresses along the shoreline were attacked. Entire armies marched toward the city. This war was even larger than the first. For years, battles raged across the countryside and along the waterfront. The children of the lake fought fiercely to defend everything they had rebuilt. Turkeys became symbols of unity during the conflict. Soldiers carried turkey emblems on banners and shields. Families waiting for loved ones to return from battle often gathered with their turkey companions for comfort. The city endured siege, famine, and destruction, yet it refused to fall. At last, after years of bloodshed, the barbarians were defeated once and for all. Their power was broken. Never again would they threaten the city. The victory was celebrated across the civilization, but the people remembered how the turkeys had stood beside them through both wars and every hardship in between. To commemorate the role the turkeys had played during the darkest chapters of the city's history, the people built a monument along the lake shore, the Turkey Memorial. The statue depicted a proud turkey gazing over the city. Around it, a grand plaza was constructed. Citizens gathered there to celebrate, mourn, and remember. The plaza quickly became one of the most sacred locations in the civilization. The city continued growing. The medieval age gave way to the industrial age. Factories rose near the waterfront. Railroads connected distant territories. Population exploded. The skyline expanded. Steam power transformed society. Then electricity arrived. Streetlights illuminated the night. Steel skyscrapers rose higher than anyone thought possible. The city entered the modern age. Every generation built larger than the one before. The lake remained the heart of everything. The city expanded around it like a living organism. Eventually, glass towers reflected across the water. Massive bridges connected districts. The once humble village had become one of the greatest cities on Earth. Then the sky changed. Strange lights appeared above the horizon. At first, they were celebrated. Many believed humanity was witnessing first contact. Crowds gathered near the lake to watch the mysterious objects descending from the heavens. The excitement did not last. The lights were not visitors. They were an invasion. Alien vessels emerged from the clouds and opened fire upon the city. Panic spread instantly. Towering skyscrapers collapsed. Entire districts vanished beneath explosions. The peaceful lake reflected burning buildings and falling spacecraft. The alien war had begun. Nothing in human history prepared the city for what followed. The invasion lasted for years. The enemy possessed technology centuries beyond humanity's understanding, yet the people refused to surrender. Soldiers fought street by street. Citizens converted subway tunnels into shelters. Factories became weapons plants. Even pet turkeys became symbols of morale during the conflict. Stories spread of families evacuating alongside their beloved companions. Rescue crews reported finding turkeys remaining beside injured owners in collapsed buildings. The birds that had comforted the city after the First Great War and inspired the people during the Second Barbarian War now did so again. By the war's darkest period, nearly 3/4 of the city had been destroyed. Alien ships littered the streets. The skyline that had taken centuries to build was shattered. Entire districts disappeared beneath smoke and fire. Many believed civilization had finally reached its end, but history repeated itself. Just as the city survived the barbarian invasions, it survived the alien invasion. Humanity fought back. Against impossible odds, the invaders were defeated. Their ships crashed across the city. The war was over. The rebuilding began once more. Engineers studied the wreckage. Scientists reverse-engineered alien technology. What they discovered changed everything. Power systems, materials, transportation methods, and communication technologies far beyond anything humanity had previously imagined became available almost overnight. The city rebuilt itself faster than ever before, and this time it did not rebuild into the past, it rebuilt into the future. The Neon Era was born. New skyscrapers rose from former battlefields. Towering structures glowed with vibrant colors. Holograms illuminated entire districts. Advanced transit systems crossed the skyline. At night, the city became a sea of light reflected across the lake. The ruins of the invasion slowly vanished beneath dazzling new architecture. Yet one place remained unchanged. Turkey Plaza. City leaders unanimously agreed that no development would ever replace it. No skyscraper could be built upon it. No rail line could cross it. No corporation could buy it. The plaza remained protected forever. Visitors from around the world often questioned why one of the most technologically advanced civilizations in history dedicated such importance to Turkey. The answer was always the same. The skyscrapers represented the city's success. The alien technology represented its intelligence. The Turkey Memorial represented its heart. It reminded every generation that the greatest strength of the civilization was never its weapons, wealth, or technology. It was compassion, the willingness to stand beside one another during the hardest times. The lesson first taught by a curious bird that wandered into a broken city centuries earlier. As the neon era matured, the skyline grew ever denser. Thousands of skyscrapers surrounded the lake. The city expanded into a colossal hypermetropolis visible from space. Artificial intelligence managed infrastructure. Transportation became nearly instantaneous. Technology transformed everyday life. Yet, despite all of these advancements, children still fed turkeys in the plaza. Families still kept them as companions. And every year, the city gathered at the lakeshore to remember the story of how, during humanity's darkest chapters, the friendship between people and turkeys helped save the soul of a civilization. The lake still remains. The same lake that reflected the first campfire. The same lake that witnessed the first village. The same lake that watched the first Great War. The friendship of the turkeys. The Second Barbarian War. The rise of industry. The alien invasion and the birth of the neon era. It has watched every chapter unfold, and its waters continue to reflect the greatest city ever built, Neon City.